Right now at 5, an early morning fire in southwest Missouri leaves one man injured.
And drastic improvements in road conditions, not so much in the temperature department. We'll have a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, some volunteers in Missouri brave the snow and ice to help first responders get to work.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is now Tuesday, January the 7th. And by the way, the reason you weren't here, of course, yesterday, but the reason I kept saying yesterday was the 5th, no, the 6th. Wait, never mind. Forget it. Forget it. I don't even know where I was going with that. But I do want to mention, I'm not sure if there's somebody from KDOT who was watching the show yesterday. While we don't need to use it today, the KDOT map has been corrected.
Oh, good.
It wasn't, so you weren't here, but it wasn't showing closed. The map didn't understand what closed was. And so all the closed roads in north central Kansas yesterday were showing as clear because the map didn't have an understanding as to what closed was. But I checked it this morning and now it's showing closed. And so whoever, if there was someone watching and you told your bosses or whatever the case may be, I thank you because it has now corrected itself. So hopefully we don't have to show closed roads around our area, but if we do, it will show up as closed, which is some good news. I do not have any other good news though, because it's still bitterly cold outside. It really is. And it's going to stay that way for a little bit, and there might even be some additional wintry weather on the horizon. But let's get you out the door today. A lot of folks going back to work, going back to school now, okay? The roads are clear. It may be cold, but you can get where you're going. And how do we know that? Well, we drove here ourselves, but we can also show you with our camera in downtown Pittsburgh, which will show you that the roads are clear. See, they look a lot better this morning than they did yesterday. I know black ice was a bit of a concern yesterday, but it doesn't seem as though it's as nearly a big a concern now as we were possibly thinking yesterday, because we had a lot of work done and the road crews did a fantastic job. I mean, they're out there as early as we're awake in those trucks, plowing these roads, driving up and down, driving in circles. And so again, my hat's off to them. I'm sure everybody is very appreciative of the work they've done because now we can get where we're going. I'm sure the kids, maybe not so much because now they have to go back to school, but the rest of us, we're very grateful. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline looking good. Taking a look at the future track like yesterday, not a lot to show at least for today. There won't be that much to show for tomorrow, other than the fact it's cold. Now, it will be a bit warmer today, still well below normal, and still very cold, but it will be a little warmer, and we'll have a little more sunshine out there. In fact, we should have a lot more sunshine out there for us as we head into the afternoon. We're sitting at 10 in Joplin and 9 in Pittsburgh. I do not like those numbers. I'm sure you folks at home don't either. I do not like this color on this map. It's a nice color, but it's not one I want to see. We've got temperatures, at least we're above 0 in terms of the actual air temperature, but they range from 5 to 20, so you got a good spread. A little warmer down to the south this morning, but then you factor in even the light breeze that we have, and it's a very light breeze. We are getting some wind chills, again, back into our western counties that are below 0. So if you are heading out to the bus stop this morning, make sure you are bundled up, make sure the kids are warm, make sure if you can drive them up there, they can stay in the car with you. So it'll be about 13. A few clouds here and there. Winds will be calm or at least light and variable out of the north. And then as we head into the afternoon, a north breeze around 5 to 10, so that's still going to make it feel even colder. But sunny skies, about 27 when the bus brings them home, and 27 is roughly the high we're heading for. We're looking at upper 20s for most of us today. Skies will clear through the morning, and we'll have plentiful sunshine into the afternoon. We'll have more sunshine again tomorrow. It won't be much warmer. And then we've got that snow to talk about because there's another round on the way. Details in the full forecast. That's coming up here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. Police in Aurora, Missouri averted what could have been a deadly situation. Authorities say a man entered the lobby of the Aurora Police and Fire Facility Sunday night, armed with a handgun, then placed the gun to his head, threatening to shoot himself. They say he also pointed the weapon at officers who were behind bullet restraint glass and repeatedly asked to be shot. When officers refused, the man stormed out of the lobby, then returned without a gun. Police subdued him with a taser. No word yet on formal charges. Authorities are investigating the cause of an early morning structure fire in Kendricktown, Missouri, just north of Carthage. Crews found smoke and flames coming from a large commercial building which used to be a semi-truck wash. Now, despite the 12-degree temperatures, crews managed to control the fire in less than an hour. Carthage Fire confirms one injury. They say a man tried to put out the fire before firefighters arrived and suffered burns to his head. He was taken to a Joplin hospital. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, as temperatures drop, we may be bracing for more wintry weather and a threat of black ice. Now, AAA of Missouri is reminding drivers to take extra precautions when navigating icy roads. Use extreme caution with passing bridges and overpasses, as these usually freeze first and melt last. Avoid using cruise control and limit lane changes to reduce the risk of hitting black ice. And most importantly, slow down.
The concern is, even with roads that might have been passable, for example, during the daytime, once that temperature drops in the evening, that's when you could see icy spots pop up. So drivers need to be extra aware of icy conditions on the roads.
Also, according to a report from Cars.com, four-wheel drive does not help your car and slow down any faster, and it could still lose control when driving in icy weather. And you can get the latest road conditions and power outages across the area anytime through this QR code. Now, it'll direct you to links on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com, for that information for each of the 4 states in our viewing area. While the recommendation is to stay home in treacherous conditions, some people don't have that option. A group of volunteers in Kansas City made a difference by offering rides to first responders in the middle of yesterday's storm. Fernanda Silva braved those same conditions for this story.
It was a stressful night for Dalao Abdugadir. After her Saturday shift as a nurse, her drive home was hectic.
I was driving on the road and my car slid. I couldn't even sleep, thinking about how I'm going to go to work.
Her stress was alleviated with the help of KC Off-Road.
It says 16 minutes, but it's probably going to be more like 20, 30. Go back that way?
Yeah, go back straight then.
Okay.
The group volunteers their time and their 4x4s on snowy days.
I mean, we need them. We need police officers. We need EMTs. We need nurses. They can't get around. We have four-wheel drive. We have Jeeps. We play around in this on a weekend. So we'll be willing to take them back and forth if we need.
As soon as 2 inches of snow hit the ground, the KC Off-Road Snow Squad hits the road.
You're right off of 29 North, right? Where your work's at?
You can go this way, Smithville.
Roads that can be tricky, but can also bring a sense of fulfillment.
At least for me, it makes me feel nice and happy because we're able to help out somebody that might not be as fortunate.
I have to go. I have a patient I take care of, and I know they need me, so I have to go.
A full circle situation for Dalao, receiving help to help others.
But thank you very much. Appreciate it.
If you are a first responder in the Kansas City area and need a ride, you can contact the group at KC Off-Road Adventure freely at gmail.com. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes coming up on the KOAM Morning News. The Pittsburgh State Gorilla is named the MIAA Player of the Week. We'll have those details. Plus, a NASA astronaut captured footage of the Northern Lights from space. And we have a cold and partly cloudy day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
Well, Pittsburgh State's track and field cross-country programs have won 7 national championships and 16 MIAA championships since Kyle Rutledge has taken over as head coach in 2021. Yesterday, he gets an upgrade from his position of head coach. Pittsburgh State Athletics announces a couple of title changes and promotions for the leaders of its cross-country and track and field programs. According to a release from PSU, Kyle Rutledge will now be the director of cross-country and track and field, which Pitt State Athletic Director Jim Johnson says more fully reflects his leadership of both programs. Ben Barrows is now the head coach for the Pitt State men's and women's cross-country teams. He has served as the distance coach on Rutledge's staff for the past 4 years. And the winter weather has gotten in the way of a lot of basketball games scheduled for last night, but today our two local college teams square off. Pitt State will host Missouri Southern at John Lance Arena. Now, yesterday afternoon, Pittsburgh State senior Corinna Gerber is named the MIAA Women's Basketball Player of the Week. This comes after she has led the Gorillas to a couple of conference victories over Arkansas, Fort Smith, and Northeastern State. Gerber scored a career-high 35 points to go with 12 rebounds in a win over the Lions on Thursday. She followed that up with 11 points and 9 rebounds in Saturday's home win against the Riverhawks. Now, before tonight's showdown between Missouri Southern and Pitt State, here's a look at the current women's basketball standings in the MIAA. Pitt State is undefeated in conference play through its first 4 games, as is Missouri Western, tied for first with the Gorillas. MSSU is 3-1 in MIAA play. On the men's side, Washburn leads the way in the MIAA. The Ichabods are ranked number 2 in the nation and have an undefeated record. Pitt State is 3-1 thus far. Missouri Southern's 2-2, part of an 8-way tie for 4th place. In the NFL yesterday, it was known as Black Monday, which signifies the date when head coaches typically get fired immediately after the finish of the regular season. Jacksonville Jaguars fired their head coach, Doug Peterson, yesterday morning. This comes after a 4-13 season and a 3rd-place finish in the AFC South. Interestingly enough, no other teams have followed suit. However, that's because several teams didn't wait until the end of the season to part ways with their head coach. Patriots fired Jared Mayo just hours after winning their season finale against the Bills yesterday to finish at 4-13. 3 other head coaches were fired mid-season. One of those teams is New York Jets, who fired Robert Saleh after starting the season 2-3. According to ESPN, the Jets have requested to interview Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator Matt Nagy for their head coaching vacancy. He was 34-31 as head coach of the Chicago Bears from 2018 to 2021 before returning to Kansas City and his second stint as offensive coordinator. Still to come, a new study suggests sugary drinks may cause more than 330,000 deaths a year. Plus, got to check out that bitterly cold forecast. We'll talk about some snow on the way when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 5:17 on this. It's a Tuesday morning. Elise is back. She's not been feeling well. I don't think she still is. I feel bad for her. She should not be here right now, but she's resting. Hopefully she can get through the morning show. It is early in the morning. When you're not feeling well, waking up at 2 a.m. is not always the best advice. So I'm also not a doctor. I am just a news guy, and I will do my best to tell you what's going to happen. Now, today and tomorrow, it's still going to be cold, but it's going to be sunnier. See, there's no clouds out there as we head into the evening hours today, but there's also no warm temperatures either. Those temperatures are not comfortable in the slightest, and I learned this morning my car apparently doesn't like the cold because it died at Quick Trip this morning. They had to come out and jump the car. I don't even know what was going on, but I mean, it was no longer liking this weather. Now, as we head into tomorrow, maybe a couple of clouds in the morning. Otherwise, another sunny day. We'll have a light northwesterly breeze, about 5-10 miles an hour. But again, we've talked about this. When the temperatures are this cold, it doesn't take much of a breeze to make it feel considerably colder. We're going to have one more really cold night heading from Wednesday into Thursday. Then on Thursday, this is where it gets more exciting, more interesting. We have a southerly breeze, which is going to be unusual. It's also going to help us warm up a bit. Clouds begin to increase, and also somewhat unusual. Instead of coming out of the north, we have a system coming out of the south that could start bringing us some snow as we head into the afternoon. We talked about it yesterday, that some of this was showing up as early as Thursday, but better chances were Friday. Well, now it looks to be a little earlier than that. So here we are by Thursday, 3 o'clock. Here comes the snow. Now, here's the thing. Take a look at these temperatures. They're at freezing in most cases, and in some locations, even just a hair above. So odds are these are going to be snow showers. It means it's going to be a bit of a wet snow, which is great for making snowballs. But because of that, it's not going to stick nearly as well. So in terms of accumulations, I'll show you those same 2 computer models we talked about from last week for the Sunday storm. So this is what we're looking at as we head into Saturday. In fact, this one's There it goes. It's catching up. So it's showing better snow chances down south. And again, it's showing anywhere from about an inch upwards of almost 5 inches of snow. However, another one, again, looking at all the same information, does have slightly lower accumulations. Now, because the system is coming in from the south, the better suggestion is for slightly better snow totals in the southern half of our area. But on this one, as you can see, Lamar has the most with Chanute at about an inch. So we'll have to see exactly how this plays out. It may look like it's going to be a lot of snow, but it may not actually add up to a lot of snow out there. This morning, though, if it was snowing right now, I guarantee you it would stick to the ground, because look at these temperatures. 5, Nevada and Fort Scott. We've got single digits, the teens, up to 20 in our far southern counties, but then you factor in, again, even a light breeze. Chanute, Neodesha, Independence, it feels like it is below 0 out there. Parsons is at 0, so it definitely a cold start. Again, some kids are not in school. I know they were running a moment ago. Hopefully they're still running, but I do know that there are, again, some closures for today, so do make sure you're checking in on that, and if you can find it on our app and on our website. But those who are going back, make sure you're bundled up. That is not right. That should not be 45. I don't know where that came from, but we'll be in the teens and then eventually make 20 by 11 a.m. A few clouds out there this morning. That'll lead to sunny skies this afternoon. North breeze around 5 to 10 miles an hour. Eventually, we'll make the upper. Did I just not do my job this morning? Upper 20s today. That should say 27. Where was I? I don't know. I'll fix all of this before you see me again, I promise. Temperatures falling back through the teens. Now that's accurate. We'll be back down to about 10 tonight. Clear skies, northwest wind 5 to 10. Cold again tomorrow, into the 20s, teens for the lows. Upper 30s initially Thursday, then into the 30s Friday. A few scattered snow showers possible then, and maybe a few flurries on Sunday. But again, look at the temperatures. That's why we're not overly concerned about snow totals as of yet, but we'll keep an eye on it for you. That's a check of your forecast. I'll get those graphics fixed, and we'll be back with Health Watch right after.
Topping Health Watch this morning. Well, a new study found sugary drinks are contributing to a global public health crisis. This study was published in the journal Nature Medicine on Monday, and it estimates sugary drinks could be a factor in 330,000 deaths annually from diabetes and cardiovascular disease. Researchers analyzed data on sugar-sweetened beverages consumed in 184 countries. They examined demographics of those most affected and found the problem is serious in Latin America and the Caribbean. However, researchers can't say whether the sweet drinks are causing diabetes and cardiovascular disease. They can only estimate the impact. It's a respiratory illness that may start out like a cold, but the cough that accompanies whooping cough can last for weeks or months. And this disease continues to surge with the highest number of cases the U.S. has seen in years. Mandy Gaither has more on the latest data and how to protect against the disease.
It's a disease that's been surging for months. Now the CDC says whooping cough cases are the highest they've been in a decade in the U.S., with no signs of slowing down.
And what this bacteria does is it attaches to the cells that line the airways. They're called cilia, the sort of hair-like cells, and damages those cells and creates a tremendous cough.
There have been more than 33,400 cases reported this year through December 21st, according to preliminary CDC data. Early treatment with antibiotics may lessen the severity of the infection, but experts say this disease is also preventable through vaccination.
Prior to the 1940s, when vaccinations were not that common in the United States, about 9,000 kids would die per year in the United States.
In the U.S., the vaccine coverage rate that protects against whooping cough was just over 92% for the 2023-24 school year, a decrease from the year before, and coverage for all vaccines decreased in most states.
And as this rate drops, the level of infection in the community rises. And so far this year, we've seen about 6 times more whooping cough than we did last year.
Those at highest risk of getting severely sick include young children, those with certain medical conditions like asthma, and anyone with a weakened immune system.
We can vaccinate children, and we really need to get back to sort of a sane environment where parents are really taught that these childhood illnesses are unnecessary.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Whooping cough is highly contagious and can spread for weeks after the cough develops. But some infections can be mild enough for some that they can spread the illness without even knowing they have it. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got another bitterly cold start to the day, but at least the roads are clear across the area. Another look at your forecast when we come back.
Right now at 5:30, the Galena City Council tries to sniff out an odor issue.
And we've got a very cold start to the day out there. We'll eventually see a little more sunshine, but not warm weather. Look at that forecast. Get you out the doors coming up.
Plus, area warming centers are helping to provide shelter from the dangerously cold temperatures.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Elise Snowy.
I'm Chris Warner. It is now Tuesday, January the 7th, and we are trucking right along into the new year. We're now officially a weekend.
Yes, we are.
And it's 2025, and before you know it, it's going to already be 2026.
Oh, let's slow down a little bit.
Hopefully it doesn't go as fast. Boy, the last few years have really flown by, it seems. Hopefully things slow down a bit this year. That way we can enjoy it a little more. But you will not be enjoying the temperatures for the next few days. No. It's going to be very cold outside, and it's going to be that way for a while. Now, we do still have some school closings out there, some other closings as well. Of course, they'll be scrolling at the bottom of your screen progressively, and they're on our website and our app. Some, I imagine, are probably closed because of just how cold it is. Because the roads have improved significantly. Right. Let's start with a look outside downtown Pittsburgh. And you can see, again, Broadway looking 100 times better than it did yesterday. In fact, it's 100% better. It is clear where yesterday it was not. Even 3rd Street there is clear as well. Did get a little melting done yesterday because we did get some sunshine, and the sun's radiant warmth is enough to start clearing some of that. Some of us also didn't get that much snow. Over to the MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line in Joplin. Again, it also is looking clear, looking good. There's still that slight potential for black ice, but overall those concerns are a bit lower than where we thought they were going to be yesterday, which is good news, but that doesn't mean we're 100% in the clear. You still want to watch out, be careful out there this morning. As we head into the afternoon, again, sunshine. We'll have those clouds that are out there now clear out. Sunny skies this afternoon. Temperatures, though, still cold. We're only into the 20s. As we head through the day, it's just going to be sunny. The nice thing is it's not going to be as windy as we've seen, but a light breeze, even a light breeze, is going to be enough to make it feel much colder out there. We'll have a north wind at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. And temperatures, of course, dropping as we head into the evening. And they will be similar to what we're seeing now, maybe a little warmer for some. 10 in Joplin right now, 9 in Pittsburgh. And across the area, points north, again, considerably colder. It is 5 in Nevada and Fort Scott. And a moment ago, I saw on the closings list that Nevada is one of the locations closed, and I'd be willing to bet it's because it is just so darned cold. But we have a pretty good spread. It's a 15-degree run from, if you were to just head straight south from Fort Scott to Jay, because Jay's sitting at 20, so is Grove. But it is still a very cold start. And again, we have a very light breeze, so not everybody has a wind chill, but in some locations, even that light breeze, Neodesha, Chanute, Independence, it feels like it is below zero. Parsons still feels like it's 0. So it is a bit on the cold side this morning, which means those of you who do have school, you want to make sure the kids are bundled up well. Or if you're taking them to the bus stop, maybe they can stay in the car with you where it's a little warmer. Talking about 13 degrees. When the bus picks them up, partly cloudy. Winds will be calm or light out of the north. And then this afternoon, north breeze 5 to 10, sunny skies. 27 when the bus brings them home, and that's where we're headed for our highs. Upper 20s for most of us. Again, with those clear skies. We'll have clear skies tonight, which means we're going to be, again, very cold tonight. We'll have more sunshine tomorrow, and then there's snow on the horizon. Details on all of that here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, with temperatures across the 4 states dropping to their lowest so far this winter, emergency warming centers and shelters are opening their doors. KOAM's Samantha Walker spoke with 2 warming centers about how you may be able to help as they work to help their communities, keep their communities safe.
The van's out right now picking people up.
The Joplin First Church of Nazarene typically opens its shelter every Tuesday and Thursday, providing things like showers and a change of clothes. But when area overnight shelters open up, the church becomes a warming center from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., so people will have a place away from the below freezing temperatures.
We're driven to go out and bring people in. My husband right now, he's out on the trails bringing people in because they need to come in and get warm. And so I just want to make sure that everybody would be safe this winter.
In Miami, the Oklahoma Emergency Response Team has turned the First Christian Church into a 24/7 warming center. The organizer says the need for the resource is evident within their street citizen population.
Under our bridges, in our parks, even storage sheds. We have a lot of people that are living there. And the temperatures right now are just at a point at night, especially where it's just not safe to be out without any type of protection. One person that came in was in shorts and a t-shirt with the temperatures at the way they were.
While some warming centers like public libraries are open to the public during their regular business hours, these two sites offer more resources, such as showers, clothing, and hot meals. But those extra services mean they need extra support.
Food, we need food desperately, and gas for the van, of course, because we're running constantly.
Towels are always a big demand, socks, even jackets and coats, things like that are always in high demand.
Another way to help at both sites is by being a volunteer, something they can both use. For those running these warming centers, they say the cold winter months are an important time for the community to come out and support one another.
Until you've been out there and been freezing and cold and without food, you don't realize the need.
Reporting, I'm Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
We have a list of warming centers in the 4 states that are open or plan to open on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. We encourage people to call these locations and check on hours, and you can also contact them to find out which ones are pet friendly. You'll also find information on donating or volunteering for each. You know, if your organization has a warming center and would like to be added to the list, just email our digital content manager, Stacy Strader. The Joplin Police Department announces the upcoming session of its Citizens Police Academy. The Academy is a 14-week program hosted by the Joplin Police Department. Class will cover a range of topics, including crime scene investigation, SWAT operations, and equipment, use of force, and canine introduction. These free classes begin February 6th and run until the 8th of May. We provided a convenient link to the application on our website. Of course, that's KOAMnewsnow.com. The Galena, Kansas City Council is trying to sniff out the source of an odor issue. In a meeting last night, the council agreed to ask the Kansas Department of Health and Environment to further investigate the cause of a sulfur smell that's prompted a number of citizen complaints. The odor seems to be worse in an area north of 4th Street, not far from a landfill. Residents complain the smell seems to be strongest in the evening.
It's been off and on. It was just a little bit like in the past summer and stuff like that, and nothing really to worry about. But now it's just nonstop, and it's just whenever. Because I'm on the south side of the landfill, and the wind blows from the north, we smell it.
The KDHE has previously determined the smell was not likely coming from the landfill, but the council is seeking a further investigation. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. The Orthodox Christians plunge into frigid waters to celebrate the Epiphany. Plus, Christian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau resigns after nearly a decade in power. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Well, topping World Watch, NASA astronaut Don Pettit captured footage of the Northern Lights from space. Pettit was floating above eastern Canada Sunday when he orbited over the Northern Lights. The aurora borealis is a natural light display caused by the interaction of charged particles from the sun and the Earth's magnetic field. Orthodox Christians gathered in Istanbul to celebrate the Epiphany. The day marks the baptism of Jesus Christ and brings an end to the 12 days of Christmas. Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew I led a ceremony at St. George's Cathedral on Monday. A swimming event called Sanctification of the Waters was held later in the day. Members of the congregation competed to retrieve a wooden cross thrown by an Orthodox priest. Epiphany, known as the Three Kings Day for Christmas and the baptism of Christ for the Orthodox, was recognized around the world on Monday with a series of celebrations. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is resigning after nearly a decade in power. He joins a trend of incumbent leaders from around the world who have been pushed out over voter dissatisfaction. Eric Sean reports from New York.
I have always been driven by my love for Canada, by my desire to serve Canadians, and by what is in the best interest of Canadians. And Canadians deserve a real choice in the next election.
He was the young, liberal beacon for a neighbor to the north. But now Justin Trudeau is resigning as party head and as prime minister when a new liberal leader is chosen.
It has become obvious to me with the internal battles that I cannot be the one to carry the Liberal standard into the next election.
Trudeau was sunk by some of the same issues that defeated President Biden. He pressed a progressive agenda for 11 years, but anger over high prices and housing costs torpedoed his popularity. The frustration starting 3 years ago with the defiant Canadian truckers' protests over COVID-19 mandates and other issues. Trudeau's announcement comes just weeks after he met with President-elect Trump at Mar-a-Lago, with Trump threatening to impose tariffs as high as 25% on Canadian goods. Trump also mocking Trudeau as the governor of Canada, saying the country should join the U.S. Today, Trump posting, quote, "Many people in Canada love being the 51st state. The United States can no longer suffer the massive trade deficits and subsidies that Canada needs to stay afloat." Justin Trudeau knew this and resigned. Trudeau is the son of iconic Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau, who cut a flamboyant, jet-setting figure in the 1970s and 80s. The Liberals face conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, whose policies echo Trump's. He has blasted Trudeau for what he calls his, quote, "extremely radical ideology." Elections now set for October will likely be moved up. Polls show the Conservative Party is trouncing the Liberals, ahead by nearly 30 points.
And that's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:45, coming up on 5:46 on this Tuesday morning. Now, as we head into the afternoon, it's going to be cold again, but we'll have more sunshine out there, so it'll look nice. It's, again, one of those days of deception where it'll look warmer than what it really is. We'll have a light north breeze at about 5 to 10 miles an hour, but with temperatures being so chilly, it doesn't take much of a breeze at all to make it feel much colder out there. Could have a couple of clouds tomorrow morning. I think overall we're going to be clear. Winds will shift out of the northwest tonight into our Wednesday. I'll be about northwest at around 5 to 10 miles an hour. We're looking at temperatures very similar to today, just going into the mid to upper 20s for most of us. We got another pretty cold night by Wednesday evening with no cloud cover. Temperatures start falling pretty quickly. Some of our northern counties already in the low teens out there by 5 o'clock tomorrow. And then overnight, winds will actually shift out of the south as we head into Thursday morning. Now, initially, we're going to be very cold to start Thursday, but then we're going to be a little warmer as clouds increase. We have that southerly breeze. Now, we are keeping an eye on a low pressure system well to our south. There's two things that can happen, and I've got two computer models that kind of give you an idea as to what could happen either way. Here's what this one's showing, though, right now on the future track is this snow starting to work into the area. Now, this is if the low track's a little further to the north, then we'll be looking at this snow, but I want to point out something that's very key to all of this as well. Look at the temperatures by 3 o'clock Thursday as the snow starts to work in. Even where the snow is, we're still above freezing. It may not be by much, but it is enough that these may be more likely to be snow showers, which means it'll be a wet snow. But with the warmer temperatures, it will also limit the accumulation amounts out there. So even though snow could start as early as 3 o'clock for some of you on Thursday, and it could snow all afternoon and evening, it may not really add up to much. And in all honesty, at this point, that's kind of the expectation, is it's not going to add up to too terribly much as we head into Friday. So here's one computer's thinking on what we are possibly looking at. And I think this is one of those scenarios, too. If that low track's a little further north, then we're going to be less of a concern out here. If it tracks a little further south, then we'll have... I'm sorry, I have that back. Look, I haven't all my coffee yet. If the low track's a little further north, we're looking at better chances for snow. If it's a little further south, the snow accumulations will drop. So this is if it tracks further north. You can see our northern counties, and this is kind of a backward system in a way. Usually our snow comes in from the north. You'll have lower amounts, but we're looking at 1 to possibly 5 inches with greater accumulations possible right along the I-44 corridor. Now the other one is, I think, going off of if that low tracks a little further to the south, pulls a little further away from us, it'll pull the moisture away from us, and we'd be looking at much less in terms of snowfall. Lamar and Chanute, it shows maybe an inch, but the majority of us less than an inch of snow in that same time frame. So still some variables, some things we want to keep an eye on, but we are expecting at least some wintry precipitation Thursday and the Friday. It's just a matter of exactly how much we'll get and what kind of impact it'll have, because it'll be warmer Thursday and Friday. Not so this morning. 5, Fort Scott and Nevada. Temperatures, we had the single digits in the northern half of our area, and then we're in the teens to near 20 in our southern counties. The light breeze still giving us a bit of a wind chill in our western counties. Below 0 is what it feels like. Independence, Neodesha, Chanute, 0 in Parsons, but still a bitterly cold start to the day. Going through the morning, mostly clear skies, 12 by 8, eventually about 20 by 11 a.m. Skies will clear by this afternoon. Highs for most of us into the upper 20s. This pattern repeats again tomorrow night. Thursday, though, a little warmer. Friday, it's still chilly, but warmer than where we have been by a couple of degrees. Maybe a few scattered snow showers Saturday, and maybe a few flurries by Sunday. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Well, tying the knot can be pricey, with the average cost of a wedding estimated to be $35,000. One couple across the pond is proving you don't have to break the bank to have the wedding of your dreams. Leah Michigan reports from England.
Found anything else exciting?
No. Newlyweds Nina and Stefan Pope have a shared passion.
Ooh, that one looks good.
Shopping secondhand. For nearly 20 years, they've furnished their English home with finds from their favorite thrift shop.
Oh my God, the cake stands are so gorgeous.
They even joked about getting married here one day when they first started dating. Turns out it wasn't such a bad idea.
These pillars here,
the aisle?
Is the aisle.
Enlisting their friend who runs the store to be their wedding planner.
And the ideas just started coming.
She found inspiration all around her. Using donated rugs to line the aisle, the bride and groom wore a secondhand dress and suit. Even their rings came from the shop. Used china and chairs catered to 150 guests.
They were the church pews that we had that were donated just the week before, so that was serendipitous.
And everything was, put together and put back within a day.
And the whole wedding cost just $250.
And that was only because I was like, ooh, we should get a bit of food.
Family and friends also wanted to help.
We must have had 15 wedding cakes.
It's just lovely because everyone feels invested.
Nina says unlike most brides, she had no expectations and no stress.
I walked in like, wow. That's what you want. It's your special day.
A day that proves tying the knot doesn't always have to come with a hefty price tag. Sometimes it just takes a little creativity, a lot of heart, and guests ready to pitch in. Leah Michigan, CBS News, Mossley, England.
Nina and Stefan believe they're the first couple in the UK to get married in a thrift shop. Stick around, we'll be right back. Well, a group of firefighters in Arizona now have a very special connection. The Chandler Fire Department welcomed 19 babies in 2024. The dads came together to take pictures with the new additions to their families. In a social media post, one of the firefighters says the new babies consist of 13 girls and 6 boys. The post adds the Chandler Fire Department is made up of around 250 members, with close to 10% welcoming newborns. They've been around for more than 100 years and considered to be fun collectibles. Now they celebrate everyone from sports, music, and movie stars to cartoon characters and political figures. Bobbleheads get their day today because it's National Bobblehead Day. The earliest bobbleheads have an origin with ties to Germany. It was in the 1950s and 60s that they began to grab a place in U.S. pop culture. Over the last few decades, sports teams spiked the popularity of bobbleheads by using them as giveaways to promote their players.
Certainly some neat we need bobbleheads of us. Who wouldn't want one of those to have it on the, at home or on their dash? Lori's here. I'm sure Lori would love a bobblehead of Elise and I, and of herself.
Yeah.
We should just get a bunch of bobbleheads made for everybody here at the station, because those would be unique collector items, I think. And something that isn't too unique is the fact that it's really cold. It's been that way. We're all sharing in it, and you don't want to collect it, but we're holding on to it for a while. We're going to start at 12 at 8. Few clouds out there, 20 by 11. Skies will be clearing into the afternoon with sunshine. Doesn't make it any warmer, but it'll certainly look that way. So if you're inside and you're looking out, it will look great. It just will not feel that way. You're going about 27 for the high, so upper 20s across the region. North breeze at 5 to 10 will make it feel a bit colder. Temperatures through the evening will, of course, start to fall back. We'll have clear skies. I'll make it back down to around 10, so some of us a little lower, some a little warmer. Northwest breeze 5 to 10 miles an hour. Same pattern again tomorrow and tomorrow night. Then Thursday, a little warmer, maybe some snow out there, continuing into Friday. A few flurries on Sunday. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this.